HTTP 1, HTTP 1.1, HTTP 2, and HTTP 3. HTTP 1 was created at 1996. It was based on TCP, and you needed a TCP handshake, basically a new TCP connection for each request. So it had a big overhead, and this is exactly why 1.1 version was created, to have keep alive. So it had a keep alive header, which means that a single connection could handle more than one request and reduce the latency. It also introduced HTTP pipelines, which means you could send multiple requests, but then you had to wait sequentially for them to be received before you can send the next one. So it was not heavily used. There were bugs along the way, not in the protocol, but in the servers in the middle. So while it improved efficiency, it wasn't used that much, this multiplication of connections to the server. So this is where HTTP 2 comes into play. It does the same pipeline, only we call them streams, but it does them better. So in 2015, HTTP 2 came alive with two big promises that were actually actualized. Multiple streams on the same connection, and two, a push updates from the server to clients without the clients needing to poll the server. The multiple streams were on the same TCP connection. Like we say, FM is frequency modulation, so we have multiple streams on the same frequency, on the same connection to the server. And the difference between HTTP 2 to HTTP 1.1, because we said that in 1.1 we already had pipelines, is that streams are independent one of another, and there is no need to wait for the previous stream to return before using the new stream, like we had this dependency and need to wait in 1.1. So HTTP 2 at 2015 gives us stream and push from server to client, while HTTP 1.1, big news were the keep alive, the usage of the single connection to handle multiple requests from clients to servers. Then we had HTTP 3, basically starting at 2020 and being developed and implemented up until today, 2022. The big thing about HTTP 3 is that it uses the quick QUIC protocol that replaces the underlying TCP. So while in HTTP 1, HTTP 1.1, HTTP 2, in all of them, we had the TCP layer at the bottom. In HTTP 3, we have the quick layer at the bottom and not TCP. It's replacing TCP. Now, quick is based on UDP protocol, and this gives us the power to handle modern networks, modern unstable Wi-Fi connections, which you can switch, modern mobiles, and with these modern networks, we tend to switch. The mobile phone switches from one Wi-Fi to mobile network to another mobile network back to Wi-Fi. And this quick, because it's based on UDP, allows you to have a connection ID, an abstract concept that it's implementing that allows you to move this connection ID in between IP addresses. So by having UDP, which is like less stable and less stateful than TCP, we are getting the benefits of using less stable networks. They go like gloves to hand, UDP and less stable networks. While HTTP 3 is rather new, it's already implemented and serving at 1/4 of all the websites that provide content today. And it's also implemented and supported by all the major browsers. So HTTP 1 was the first protocol using TCP, but for each request you had to have a new TCP connection. In 1.1 we had a keep alive, where in a single connection you could use multiple requests. HTTP 2 came, where you had a push updates from the server to the client and having multiple streams on the same connection. And now we have HTTP 3, replacing altogether the TCP and using the quick protocol on top of UDP in order to serve better Wi-Fi and mobile networks.